Laws affect teaching and learning in schools all over the world. Different countries come up with their own acts and programs, which can have a great impact on the everyday lives of students and teachers. In this activity, I will present some of the laws that affect the schooling process in the United States. No Child Left Behind Act, Common Core, and Every Student Succeeds. The No Child Left Behind Act was released in 2002 and supported standards-based education reform, setting high standards in education. The act required states to develop assessments in basic skills. To receive federal school funding, states had to give these assessments to all students at select grade levels. The advocates of this act say that the law holds schools accountable. The districts are better aligned in classroom teaching with state academic standards. Principals and teachers are making better use of test results to improve teaching. Scores on tests are higher in large majority of states and school districts. Many critics argue that it's a one-size-fits-all approach to education that overemphasizes testing and doesn't provide enough money to schools to achieve success. Teachers report high stress levels because of the pressure to improve scores. Most school districts are cutting back on social studies, science, art, and other subjects to make more time for reading and math. According to the law, now teachers are required to be highly qualified to teach core academic subjects in every classroom. Specifically, an elementary school teacher must have a bachelor's degree and pass a rigorous test in core curriculum areas. The 2002 law did not address the Common Core standards specifically, since they didn't emerge until later that decade. And they emerged not from the federal government, but from a state-led effort to define what the state should be teaching and how it should be taught. The Common Core Standards Initiative details what K-12 students should know in English language arts and mathematics at the end of each grade, and also establishes consistent educational standards across the states and prepares students to entering the college after graduation. There are 6 major shifts in the English language arts standards that differentiate the standards above from those previously adopted by individual states. The main emphasis is on development the critical thinking as well as learning from non-fiction tests and problem-solving skills. The mathematics Common Core standards stress conceptual understanding of ideas, as well as constantly returning to the basic math skills of place value and arithmetics. The goal of these math standards was to solve the problem of previous math curricula, covering too many topics in not enough detail. Until the Every Student Succeeds Act was passed in December 2015, the U.S. Department of Education had encouraged states to adopt the Common Core standards. The increase in standardized testing was met with resistance from many parents, and many called for a lessened role for the federal government in education. Like the No Child Left Behind Act, Every Student Succeeds Act established the federal government's expanded role in public education. The main reason for a new act was that many states failed to meet the previous standards. Act prohibits the Department of Education from attempting to influence state adoption of the Common Core state standards. According to the new act, states must still test students in the same grades, but will now have more flexibility. The new act has a new grant program for literacy in schools and authorizes a new comprehensive resource centers for parents and teachers on literacy and students with disabilities. That was a brief overview of the laws that affected the schooling process in the United States. Thank you.
Created using Powtoon.